Alright guys, so welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we're going to carry on our series about our modular car, and in the video of today we're going to carry on populating this data. In the previous one we have set up the ground rules here to pass the data, and today we're going to actually pass the data on. Right, so if you have been following the previous in the previous tutorial, we have created here this part widgets. We have created here in the begin graph, and now we need to pass that data to the widget. So let's do that right now. So right now what we did here is on the widget here, let me show what on the WBP modular build selection, we have created here a new variable called building parts, and I have set up to public and make sure is also exposed on spawn. And okay, now if we get here and we right click and press refresh, that thing should start to show up. So let's just add here, and nice. Now what I can do here is that on the widget, let's make sure that information is passing properly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do print, and I'm going to get my parts, and I'm going to get my length. So I'm going to get the length here. I'm going to press play, and let's see how many things we have. You see, 3. That's the amount of stuff that we got in there. So now this is working. Let's create here a custom event, and let's go load reload building data, and let's put the API here just because so it's easy to access after. And now what we're gonna get is gonna get this, and we're gonna do a for each loop here, and now we have a problem. So now we need to find a way that we can dynamically add that information in here. How can we do this, right? So easiest ways to do this is basically we need to extract this component here that we have created, this guy here, and we need to make this dynamic. We need to create some functions that will accept the icon, the text, and callbacks and all that. So to do that, we're gonna right click here in the widgets folder. We're gonna create another widget and make sure you select user widgets, and we're gonna call WBP part list item, or part, or maybe just call list item. Just is easy to follow the name. And what we're gonna do here is gonna open up this in full screen. I'm gonna right click here, so I'm gonna open up the modular build selection here again, and I'm gonna select here my horizontal box, right click, copy, go back in there, gonna right click in this and press paste. Nice. And as you can see here, all the layout is a little bit screwed up, so let's just make sure that we put to desired, just so it looks a little bit better. And right now, let me check if I wrap this with a scale box. I'll just leave without. Right. And now we need to dynamically set the icon, the text, and we need to listen for a callback. But the callback is going to be more in the future. Right, so let's do this. So first of all, we need to make sure that the icon here is a variable, which it is. We need to make sure that the text is a variable, which it wasn't, but now it is. And that's it. Now we're gonna go back in here. We're gonna create a new variable, and this is gonna be the part. So we're gonna call building part, and this is gonna be st part. It's gonna be the st car part. Let me just double check if that's the right name. st car part, yep, that's the right name, cool. And now we're gonna make sure it's public, make sure expose on spawn, and compile and save, and there we go. Now what we're gonna do here is that we, on the event construct, we're gonna get the icon, and we also gonna get here the text. And what we're going to do is first that we're gonna set texture. It's gonna connect in here for now. So, and then the text, we're just gonna call set texture. Sorry, set text. Make sure you click on this one, set text. And cool. Now we have everything selected. Now let's get this building part. Let's create here break. And the first thing I'm going to do here is that the icon is going to be past that, and the part name will be passed here. And well, we got a category. What we can do here is, let's see if you can find the best way of adding this. You know what we can do here is, on the icon, I'm gonna wrap with a vertical box. All right, and then inside this vertical box I'm gonna add a new text, and this text is gonna go inside here. I'm just gonna wrap my icon with a scale box just to make sure the size always get consistent. And here's gonna be the category name, so it's gonna be something like wheel, or something like, you know, front wheel. And we're gonna make sure that the text, I'm not sure if the text is gonna be too big. We can leave it like this for now. We can always improve this layout after. And also make sure that this is gonna be text category. Make sure it's set as a variable, which is great. Go back in here, and here we go. So we got the icon, we got the part name, and the next step that we're gonna do here is we're gonna select the category here, sorry. We're gonna come here, and we're gonna set text, plug it in there. It's great. And now we need to first get this into, I think it's to string, enum to string, and then the string we need to transfer to text. If you do straight like that, it won't work, so you have to cast to string first. And I think that's all right for now, which is really good. So that is all set. So this is going to be all dynamic. Let me just make sure that this gets centralized here, and we can align that. No, just centralize. Yeah, nice. Compile and save. Great. Now on the build selection here, let's delete this horizontal box. Don't worry about that. I'm gonna compile and save. Click on here on the scroll box. Make sure this is a variable. Let's change the name to the name to something like items list. And in here we gonna now create a widget and add those values in there. So first thing we're gonna do here is on the WBP modular build selection on the graph, we're gonna create a widget. And this widget here, if you go to the selection, it's called WBP list item. So we can search for WBP list item. There you go. And now you see that he asked for a part, so we can just connect this here and compile and save. If you press play right now, this is not gonna work because we still have to add this widget to that children. So the way Unreal Engine works is that it works with children, so you add multiple children. That's the reason why I added a scroll box, is because we can scroll after if the list gets too big. So let's get this items list. Let's add children or child. And here we're gonna do something like this, which is really good. We're gonna do that like this, and we're gonna compile and save. And now that should work. Oh yeah, it's not working because we have to call this on the event construct. There's many ways you can call that. You can also call this event in here on the player controller in here. Where is it? On the BPC. You can call the event here like API load, whatever. But since we're kind of loading this, it makes more sense to call that here. So as you can see, we kind of have our widget displaying. It just has some weird layout for now. So let's fix this right now. So the first thing I can see in that is that it has some weird. So I think this probably wasn't the best idea of putting this icon there. So I'm gonna move this on the horizontal box here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this here. And so I'm gonna put the part name first, and then I'm gonna duplicate this text. Actually, I'm gonna find the text here again. I'm just gonna put it here, and in here I'm just gonna do something like this. There you go. So we got front wheel. Let's make both of the text, they follow the same layout here. So that in here, and this one as well. Let's add some padding in all directions. Let's add some 10 padding. And it looks a little bit better. And let's change the color of the category to something like, I don't know, like a yellow color. And let's change also the color of this text, which is the main part, to something like this. And let's add some kind of an outline. Let's add like 1, right? You can also add all outline here if you want to. Compile and save, and let's check if it looks a little bit better. So yeah, it looks much better. So we know now that this is the part name, this is the back wheel, and everything looks very, very simple. One last thing here that I want to do is that I want to make sure I wrap the whole thing with a scale box, right? And the reason why I'm wrapping with a scale box is because because of that. So if I come back in here and let's say the body name is something very big, something like this, a scale box will take care of that for me. So everything will get aligned. But I think for now, just so we don't have to spend too much time on the widget, I'm just gonna go back in here. I'm gonna actually remove here my my scale box and leave it the way it was, because with other parts they have short names and everything should be okay. Okay, now that everything is working, as you guys can see here, all the the icons are coming right, the body is good. We have here the category, which is fantastic. We have this button place and everything. Now just let's add some padding to this, just so they don't get very sticky to this. So let's do that. So when we are looping this, what we can do here is that we are adding the children, blah, blah, blah. We can do that is we get this node here, which is the widget, and we're gonna add padding. So set padding here. This is gonna ask for a padding, so we can go ahead and say make margin. And what we can do here is that we could do like 10 from top, 10 from bottom. Let's see if that looks good. Yeah, so give me some space. I see that we have a better list here and everything looks a little bit more interesting. And well, since we are in here as well, let's make this widget maybe pop up a little bit better as well. So what we can do here, we can wrap this whole thing with a border, okay? And this border here, right now we gonna set here the, just call border, that's fine. Make sure it's a variable. And in the opacity here, I'm gonna make sure it's 0, right? So there's no opacity right here, so we don't see anything. Now let's create a quick animation here just to give some introduction as well about animations and widgets and stuff. So what I want to do here is when I hover this, I want to make that border in a different color. So in here on the widget graph, we have, this is the list, yeah? What I'm playing around here is the list here. And now if you go to graph, on the override section, we have mouse, and then we have here mouse enter, and then we have another function, mouse leave. And what we can do there is that we can get our border, and we can set our, I think, distinct color, and there you go. So we have the color here. Let me just double check if it works when it goes to I think, just check, so that's the opacity, compile and save. Let me just double check if it's actually registering my event when I am entering, which it is, which is good. So let's do it in a better way then. So we're gonna do this using animation. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna click in the animation tab, we're gonna create a new animation, and we're gonna call fade in, right? We're gonna click in the animation fade in, and we're gonna track the border, right? So just click here, track, once you clicked in the animation fade in, and we're gonna track the border. In here, we can track a couple of things, so we can track the brush color. So let's do this. So the brush color tab, and the RGB here, let me just find a color that works for us. I think the best color in this case will be black. a black color that it match the background. So we're gonna compile and save. So by default this is gonna be 0, but what we're gonna do in the animation is that we're gonna put the alpha here to 0, press on this button here to create a key, and more or less which is like 75 milliseconds, we're gonna put this to 1, and that should control the animation, the brush color for us. And I think, let me see if I have to do any other thing here. Let me just put this to 1 again. There we go, and let's see if the animation works properly. You see? It's very subtle, but it does the job. Nice. Now let's trigger the animation in here. So the way we can trigger animations, really simple. You drag the animation down, and we're gonna call a node here called play animation. And we're gonna play in here when you enter, and we're gonna copy and paste this thing here as well, and we're also gonna play the same animation when the mouse leave, but this time you're gonna play in reverse. And I think it's gonna be really cool. So as you guys can see, there's like a fade effect in that. And just to get rid of that effect, so just let's this to 0 for now. I think, let's check if it works. Yeah, and there you go. So we have like this effect here. Pretty cool, right? So thank you very much, guys, for watching. Yep. So in the next lesson, we're gonna be doing the callback on this button, and I see you guys in the next one.